nonprofit focused on changing kids' lives through the power of play. We're here today on Facebook Live to answer your questions about our AmeriCorps coach position. So we've had folks write in from all over the country with some questions about our position, and we're also going to be taking your questions live. So if you have them, please chat them in, get your typing fingers ready, because we're excited to talk to you. So I just want to do a quick minute of introductions. My name is Jessica. I'm one of our program managers here at Playworks. I oversee part of our AmeriCorps program.
My name is Trell, and I am one of the program directors here at Playworks East Bay.
My name is Keenan, and I'm an AmeriCorps member serving at Collins Elementary in Pinole.
Thank you. My name is Farron, and I am a recruitment specialist here at our national office for Playworks.
My name's Ellen, and I'm a site coordinator in San Francisco, so I manage 4 different sites throughout the San Francisco region.
Great. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to kick things off in true Playworks fashion with a game. Ellen is going to hold up a piece of playground equipment, and we're going to give you guys about 5 to 10 seconds to type in as many games as you can think of that you could play with that piece of equipment. So get your typing fingers ready and go. Awesome. So I've got some chats coming in. It looks like I've got kickball, somebody says. I've got foursquare, handball. Let's give it a couple more seconds. Tetherball, that's a really creative one. Awesome. So Ellen, do you want to tell us a couple of your favorite games?
Sure. So with this bouncy ball, I think my favorite game would be Foursquare. There's 4 different squares. The goal is to get into the A square. Super fun and a great way to share this ball. Another favorite is wall ball or handball. So you're trying to hit the ball down towards the wall, and you play with a partner, and that's another fun game. And another fun game is kickball. I think that's one of my favorites.
Great. Thank you. Thank you guys for your chat-ins. We appreciate that. So as I said, Playworks is a national nonprofit, and we give every student the opportunity to engage in safe, healthy, and meaningful play every single day through our AmeriCorps coach program. So our coaches serve for a full school year at schools all across the country, and so chances are we've got a school near you because we're in 23 different regions. I'd like to start us off by asking Trell to talk us through a little bit about what it's like to be an AmeriCorps member here.
Absolutely. So, as an AmeriCorps coach, you will be responsible for implementing our 5 core program components, which are recess, class game time, before school recess, leagues, and junior coach. So in terms of recess, you'll be responsible for organizing the playground in a way that makes sense for the kids, so that way they know exactly where to play and how to play once they get to that designated game area. In terms of before school recess, it's exactly what it sounds like. A mini recess right before the school day starts that gives kids an opportunity to get the wiggles out before they get in the classroom and ready to learn. For class game time, that would be the time where you would spend individualized time with each of your classes once every other week, and you will get to support the skills that they need to be successful out on the playground during recess. And that's also a great time to teach teachers the rules of the game so they can help support you during recess. In terms of leagues, those are non-competitive and strictly developmental, where our kids come together. You recruit 12 to 15 kids. We did this year co-ed dodgeball and also girls basketball. And last but not least, we have the junior coach program, which is a youth development program in which you would recruit 15 students, and you would essentially teach them how to be leaders in their school community.
Great. That sounds like so much fun. We had this question come in a lot that I'm going to ask next. I'm going to ask Keenan to answer it for us. What's your favorite part about being a Playworks coach?
I'd have to say my favorite part about being a Playworks coach is recess. You get to have a bunch of fun. You get to see all of the 5 components of your program really come together in recess. So you're seeing the games that you're teaching in class game time being played out on the playground collaboratively and run by the kids individually. You're seeing your junior coach program really flourish with the kids that you're training, developing their leadership skills and resolving conflicts. And you're seeing everybody just having a great time. I remember this one time, for example, I had some junior coaches at the game of the week one week, which was flag tag, a game where you have to try to pull the flag out of the waistband of some of the other people that are playing. And my junior coaches, even though they weren't actually expected to be leading and facilitating the game, they took it upon themselves to actually start new rounds and make sure that conflicts were being resolved and just enhancing the overall flow of the game.
That sounds so great, and what a great testament to your leadership as the coach on that campus that those junior coaches are so ready to engage and want to help facilitate all the time. That's awesome. So another question that we got a couple of times, which I think is really great, is what it's really like to be a coach. So what's a sample day like serving as a Playworks coach with us?
So I would describe a day in the life of a coach as really busy and really fun. So we usually start with before school recess, so getting kids ready to go into the classroom, getting those extra wiggles out before they have to go sit down. So I would usually pick a game like tag or Foursquare, just a calm game to get them started on their day. Then I would usually schedule myself some prep time in the morning. So prep time is time to check your email, answer emails, get any paperwork done that you need to do, prepare for class game time, so looking at our curriculum, picking new games to play, and then maybe making signs for your playground or getting any other signage you want to do done. Then comes the first class game time of the day. So like Charles said, that's the time you can meet with a class one-on-one and teach them any games you want to see out at recess. So you might focus on kickball or Rochambeau games, something. Your class game time focuses on one thing for the whole class. And then comes recess. So you have morning recess, you have lunch recess, and during that time you're responsible for preparing the yard for recess, so putting out any signage, making sure boundaries are clear for kids, making sure they know what games are available to them, and then playing, getting engaged with the kids, resolving any conflicts that come up. You also spend this time checking in with junior coaches, making sure they feel comfortable on the yard doing their job. And then the afternoon will usually be more class game times. And then after school could vary by day. So you might have practice with your league team. So could be girls basketball practice or dodgeball practice. You might have a professional development meeting with your office, or you might have a junior coach meeting.
Wow, what an exciting and full day. I bet you are tired at the end of that. That's amazing. So if you're just joining us again, we're Playworks. We're a national nonprofit. We're here talking about our AmeriCorps coach position, and we're taking your questions live, so please chat them in. So I'm going to ask Trell if you could talk a little bit about, from the big picture, what does a full year of service look like as an AmeriCorps member? What are you kind of committing to?
Sure. In terms of like a snapshot on what you could expect for the year to look like, before you even get to your school, we would put you through an intensive week of professional development, and we at Playworks, we call that pre-service. And so right after pre-service, then you would get the opportunity to jump right into your school community, immerse yourself, build rapport, and learn the names of your children, as well as get to know your staff. In the fall, you would be recruiting for your junior coach program and also signing up teachers to lead class game time, in which you would see your classes once every 2 weeks. In the winter, you would also get to recruit for your first league team, so that could either be dodgeball, it could be kickball, it could be basketball, and then you would start planning for your community engagement initiative. And in the spring, you would focus on executing that community engagement initiative, as well as recruiting volunteers, focusing on finishing your term of service, and then you've got AmeriCorps graduation.
Woohoo! I bet you are so excited when you get to graduation after finishing all of those hours. That's amazing. So we've got a question that got written in from Tatiana in Arizona. Thanks, Tatiana, for writing in. What, as an AmeriCorps member, do you have input in the types of community service and community engagement events that you participate in? Keenan, you want to take that one for us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so as an AmeriCorps member, you have a group of cohorts that serve the same position as you, and you are under one manager. So it is an expectation with this position for you to put together a community engagement initiative during the school year, in which you assess the needs of your school's communities and create events that will draw those communities together based on their needs. So certainly you have to work as a team and collaborate in order to input the essential needs of your communities and make sure that those are all met.
Great. It sounds like a really thorough process. That's awesome. So we've got another question that's been written in from Haley, and she wants to know, as an AmeriCorps member, do you get vacation? So I know, Trell, you touched a little bit about this in talking about the year. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so in terms of vacation, we definitely have two options for vacation. We generally, our members either go on vacation during the winter break, or if they choose to forego winter break vacation, they can then opt in for spring break vacation. And after that, because we're on the calendar year, so after school is over, probably about 2 or 3 weeks into June, then is your summer vacation.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things that's really awesome about working in a school environment is you often get off a lot of the days that the school has off. There's certainly some things that change depending on your region and specifics with your position, but generally you do get off most school holidays, which is pretty awesome. So thank you, Haley, for that question. I'm now going to ask Ellen to tell us a little bit about the Playworks at culture. What would you consider as our secret sauce that makes us such a fun place to work?
Awesome. Well, I would definitely say that play is integral to Playworks culture. We definitely incorporate play in all aspects of working at Playworks. So if you're a Playworks coach, you're playing all day. If you're working in the Playworks office, you sometimes will have office recess, or you'll play an icebreaker game before every meeting. There's a 4-square court out in the hallway of this office right here, even though we're not at a school. Play is definitely part of your life if you're a Playworks coach. One of my favorite parts is that Playworks will incorporate play into professional developments. So when you're a coach and serving as AmeriCorps, you have professional developments every week or so. And these professional developments often are a lot of playing, because if there's a league coming up, the professional development will focus on learning the games that you might play with your team. Or if you're doing a development on class game time, you might be sharing ideas with other coaches about what games to play, and then playing those games and teaching each other like how to play a game. So it's definitely a part of life as a Playworks employee in all ways, to play and play games.
Definitely, yeah. I think that was so well said. We take our play very, very serious here at Playworks. I'm now going to ask Farron from a recruitment standpoint, can you tell us a little bit about working with AmeriCorps, how that's different than being a staff member?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jessica. So it is definitely a different position. Having a commitment to service is important when you are serving with AmeriCorps. It is definitely not a 9-to-5 job. But it's exciting because you really get immersed in your school community, as Trell was saying earlier, and you get to make an impact on that community and the kids that you serve. And those are kind of some of the intangible benefits of being an AmeriCorps member. Some of the tangible benefits that you'll get that are a little bit different from like a regular staff position are, for instance, our semi-monthly stipend that's paid out for AmeriCorps members. Also, you are eligible for health care insurance, medical insurance at no cost to you, which is huge. And then if you successfully complete your 1,700 hours of service at the end of the school year, you're eligible for an education award. And what that is essentially about $5,800, so almost $6,000, that you can use to pay back your qualified student loans. You can also use that if you're looking to go back to school. So there's a lot of great benefits that are available to AmeriCorps members that may not be available to other 9-to-5 type jobs.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's well said. I think part of what's so great about AmeriCorps is you get to be part of this national service movement as well. So not only are you joining our huge team here at Playworks all across the country, but you're joining the larger AmeriCorps family. We've had over 1 million people serve with AmeriCorps since the program began. So it's a big network that you're joining, a big alumni pool of folks all over the country, which is really, really exciting. So one of the other questions that has come in is from Megan, and she'd like to know how are coaches assigned to schools? So Charles, as a program director who does some assigning of coaches to schools, can you tell us a little bit about how you make those decisions?
Absolutely. And so when we're thinking about who we're going to put at what school, and I talked about that intensive week of pre-service before the school year starts, that's also that's a time for us to kind of assess our coaches' skill sets and identify who we think would be the best fit given their skill set and also the needs of the school community. And something that we also take into consideration is also whether or not people have transportation and just accessibility to the school site, and also just kind of the length of your commute. So those are definitely things that we try to take into consideration given the schools that we have available.
Yeah, I think that's great how integral and how much you guys put into those decisions. That was a great question. Thank you so much, Megan. I've got another one for Farron. Can you tell us a little bit about how you get paid as an AmeriCorps member?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So as an AmeriCorps member, you are eligible for a stipend that is paid out semi-monthly. And of course, there are many other benefits like I discussed earlier in addition to this living stipend that you're paid, such as the education award, and then also the professional development that Ellen talked about earlier as well.
Yeah, lots of really, really great benefits. So I've got another great question that came in. Somebody would like to know what motivated you to serve. So I think, Keenan, this question's probably for you if you want to tell us about why you chose to come serve here at Playworks.
Yeah, so I've always been a very community-oriented person. I went to a community-centered high school when I was in high school and developed a lot of communal values. So my first line of work actually out of high school was with AmeriCorps, with the California Conservation Corps, doing a lot of maintenance with Caltrans on the side of the highway and things along those lines, forestry work and stuff like that. But after leaving that job, I knew that I wanted to do community service in a different modality. So looking at AmeriCorps jobs, I found out about Playworks, and I've worked with summer camps throughout my high school career and knew that I loved working with kids. So it seemed like a great ideal for me to sign up for.
Great, awesome. Ellen, do you want to tell us a little bit about why you chose to come work with Playworks?
Sure. I was really drawn to Playworks because of the really solid impact that you can see in your work. I had done some nonprofit work throughout college and in high school, and have always been a community-oriented person. And I think in some nonprofit work, it's like the impact that you're making feels very far away from you, and it's hard to see what you're working on. And I really liked Playworks because every day you can see what you're doing. Like it might be like 5 more kids using Rochambeau during a game, or seeing a junior coach lead a game on their own, or just looking at your recess from the beginning of the year to the end. You can just see how it changes throughout the year. And I'm from the Bay Area, and I think it's really cool for me to see how Playworks contributes to schools in the Bay Area and how I can give back to those schools.
Thank you. That's so inspiring. So I've got another question for Farron. Can you tell us a little bit about what the hiring process is like? How do we apply if we're interested?
Yes, this is my favorite question. So if you are interested in applying, it's very simple. It's a super easy process. You just need to go to playworks.org/coach, which I'm sure we'll send this link out after this live feed today. And then from there, you can read more about the position. You can also click a really big blue button that says Apply Now. After you do that, just make sure you have your resume ready and about 20 or 30 minutes to really devote to your application. So as part of your application, we're going to obviously, ask for that upload of your resume, and then there are a few questions that we want you to answer about your commitment to serve with us, Playworks, and then of course, obviously as an AmeriCorps member as well.
Great. That sounds like a really easy instructions to follow. So I just go to playworks.org/coach.
That's it. And actually, Can I add one more thing? So I forgot to mention that once you go there, you can actually see where all of our positions are open across the whole country. So as Jesse mentioned earlier, we have 23 sites here with Playworks, and we are hiring for coaches in almost all of them. So you can also apply for multiple positions as well in multiple cities.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds like lots of really exciting opportunities. Awesome. So I've gotten another great write-in question from Jeanette. She wants to know, are coaches responsible? And it's similar to another great question that Shayna from Chicago has asked is, what does it take to be a good coach? And what is Playworks looking for in a coach? So Charles, could you talk a little bit about that as a hiring manager? What is it you're looking for? What's responsibility like as a coach?
Definitely. I think one of the main things that we're looking for is just a willingness to serve, someone that wants to make a difference in the community and use the power of play to literally change lives. You've got to be willing to get out of your comfort zones, right? Meet the kids on their level, be silly, and also just have initiative and want to make a difference, and know that, kind of like Ellen said, the impact at times, and you may not be able to see it when you're in it, but just rest assured that, again, you're showing up every day consistently, you're making a difference. So that's what we look for: consistency, drive, initiative, and just a want to make a difference.
Fabulous. Yeah, I think those are all really great skills to have later in life, too, in whatever job you're going to go to next. So maybe, Farron, you can talk a little bit about what's life like post-serving with AmeriCorps and here at Playworks.
Absolutely. So as we all, I think, have mentioned multiple times, there are so many skills that you gain while you're an AmeriCorps coach with Playworks. So a lot of our Playworks coaches either go on to become teachers or are involved in the education field in some way. It's an awesome way to get your foot in the door because you are already immersed in that school community that you've been in for 10 months. You know teachers, you know administrators. It's a great avenue if that's something you're interested in. But here at Playworks, we actually also are really focused on upward mobility of our employees. And so we have so many examples of coaches who have become program managers up to program directors, and even one in the room here today, Trell, started off as an AmeriCorps coach and, of course, is now a PD, a program director in our East Bay office. And we actually have also examples of folks who have started on the playground as AmeriCorps coaches and are on our executive team now. And I think that Keenan actually has a story about how he's seen this upward mobility. So I'm going to pass it over.
Yeah, so funny story. I went to elementary school at Rosa Parks in Berkeley, and there was a coach there that taught a class game time with us that was a Playworks coach, and her name was Eunice. And I remember her. She had spiky hair and piercings, and she was just super cool, and she stuck up for me when this other girl was being mean to me after class game time. And she's actually the Chief People's Officer of Playworks now. And then, of course, I'm also looking right now to apply for a site coordinator position or perhaps a program coordinator position for next year. So, and have been encouraged to do so. So there's always more room for upward mobility here.
Awesome. I cannot talk any more about how much I love that story. I think that's such a great example of what the power of play does and how great working at Playworks really can be. So if you're just joining us, I saw we've got a couple more people joining in. We're Playworks. We're a national nonprofit. We're here talking about our AmeriCorps coach position that we're recruiting for the 17-18 school year. We're looking for folks to join our team starting in August and come play with us. So we've got a little bit more time. So I was going to ask Ellen if she could talk a little bit more about what she feels like is the most rewarding part about being a coach.
So like I was saying before, I think the most rewarding parts are the tangible parts of the job. Like, you can really see the impact that you're making on a school when you take a step back and you reflect on how your recess has changed throughout the year. Another thing that I find really rewarding is working with the junior coaches. So that's your squad of mini-me's who are out there on the yard with you. They're assigned to a game station. You do trainings with them throughout the year. And for example, at one of my schools this year, I've had some really proactive junior coaches who have brought games to the recess team to suggest we play at recess, and they'll lead games even when they're not on duty. So it's really cool to see kids who especially maybe are lacking in self-confidence at the beginning of the year really just flourish and take on that leadership role as you get towards the end of the year.
Yeah, that's great. The junior coaches is one of my favorite components of our Playworks model. I think it's so special, and I love getting to go out and visit schools and see all those junior coaches running around in their purple shirts leading activities, and they're always so friendly. And I can't say how many schools I've been to visit, even here locally in the Bay Area, where the junior coaches come running up and they want to know who you are and what you're doing, and they want to tell you about their game you're playing. And I think it's such an amazing opportunity that we're giving to these young people as a youth development program. I was going to ask Keenan if you want to talk a little bit more about some of your favorite parts about being a coach this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I'd have to say that league nights is definitely one of my favorite parts of being a coach this year. Seeing and working more closely and individually with a select group of kids and watching them further develop skills in games that they may not normally be comfortable with playing, and then bring those skills back to after school, and then bring those skills back to the playground during school, and share those skills with the other kids that they play with.
That's great. Awesome. So we want to thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. It looks like I don't have any more questions written in at this moment, but we're hoping we'll get some more that folks have questions about our AmeriCorps coach position, because it's a ton of fun, as I hope you've heard tonight. And again, I'm just going to have Farron give us the how we apply spiel really quick.
Absolutely. Okay, so just one more time, you go to playworks.org/coach. From there, you're going to click apply, and you have a whole list of where we are recruiting, what cities across the country we're recruiting for Playworks AmeriCorps coaches. And so it's a very simple process. From there, if you're selected for an interview, you'll be contacted very quickly from a representative from the city that you've applied. So we encourage you to apply, and it's a really fun, rewarding position.
Definitely, yeah. We are excited to have you ask more questions. Farron and I are going to put our emails in the comments when we post this live. So feel free to email either of us with any of your questions about serving here at Playworks, about the AmeriCorps position, about what being a coach is like. We'd be happy to answer them or direct you to the right person who can answer that. And again, thank you so much for joining us. We want to end in another one of our favorite Playworks tradition, which is a clap. And I'm going to ask Trell to lead us. I thought we could do a whoosh clap for everyone for participating with us. Do you want to walk us through that?
All right, so I'm going to ask the people that are sitting here with me to help me out. The way that we do a whoosh clap here is we count to 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to clap, and then we're going to gather all of our positive energy and good vibes, and we're going to whoosh them out to all of you all, and hope to see your names in our applicant list. All right, so are y'all ready to whoosh clap all of our viewers?
Ready.
All right, y'all. 1, 2, 3.